What we're slowly learning is that in order to create an effective online learning environment, we have to have a very conscious design to the collaboration aspects that we're going to put inside courses. So creating courses where there is an expectation of collaboration, where people can work in teams and do case studies and projects and things like that, that enable them to interact with others and have a much richer, what we would call a constructivist educational experience. And that I think the thing that we take from that is that we can't simply take what happened in the classroom or in a conventional environment and try and copy it to online. We've got to think very carefully about how we create a rich environment online. And I think this is the broader lesson, is that has to be very structured, and people need to be trained and educated about how they're going to behave and what their role is in this new way of working.
Our challenge, because we've been virtual most of our heritage, has been re-looking at creativity versus collaboration versus productivity. And we kind of tackled that via three ways. So tooling. Most of what we think about is cloud native or cloud only, right? That might be workspace, as I talked about, video, collaboration from a document or spreadsheet perspective, but it's also cloud development and QA. It's also, as you'd imagine, we're a big Salesforce user, and we use it for 100% of our client engagement, 100% of our analytics, 100% of our external market presence. On the culture side, it's really about where and how we celebrate success. Very hard to do that in a virtual world. So we want to make sure that we do create in-person activities, whether it's celebrating a win or creating personal bonds like barbecues, or we're just creating a means to create together, right? Whiteboards, bigger rooms, make sure there's coffee on the stove, that there's water and pop in the fridge. And we want to look at productivity in terms of where hands-on keyboard actually are, right? Do you do that at home? Do you do it at the office? Do you do that in hybrid? And productivity-wise, we want to recreate all meetings. We're going to make it post-summer that all meetings get canceled, every single reoccurring meeting, and we're going to recreate our own calendars from scratch. And then finally, the physical environment, we have to think about what the physical office looks like. It's not about going to the office doing work. It's about changing the entire layout to be much bigger meeting spaces and much more collaboration. Bigger whiteboards, bigger tables, video conferencing. It's where we come together to create versus where we come to work.
Proximity breeds innovation and collaboration. And now, of course, we have to ensure that digital proximity is brought into that area, because again, people are going to be hybrid as we move forward. Our view is going to be 60% present, but 100% participation. So, to do that, we have to make sure that to sort of align with what Paul and Peter were saying, you have to have the right kind of rooms, the right kind of areas. The office will become an event center where you're going to have an event, so you can host that event and people can all participate in an event, physically distanced, safe. They can hear well, they can speak well with the proper technology and the proper screens, yet at the same time you can bring people in from anywhere. We're a mobile first approach. We've been mobile first for many years, so you can work anywhere on the campus in the same way you can work anywhere around the world. So having that in place allowed people to get on a video call from a manufacturing plant into an office, into marketing, to product, or at a sales office. So I think having that technology in place is really helpful. I think it's very important as well to not distinguish between a work from home and an office person, because we can't create two classes of people. So we have to think about mentorship. We have to think about the big projects and who can handle them, who wants to handle them, irrespective of where they're located and whether or not they're coming into the office or not. And I think that part of that is bringing everyone together. And of course, having that right technology to sort of bring everyone together, the connections. And we can't forget the digital collisions. I mean, we've got physical collisions in the office where you stop in the hallway, talk to people, but we've got to make sure we put more emphasis on chat and the digital collisions and bringing people in. And then of course, privacy on demand, because when you're in the office, you need some privacy even to have this kind of call, and that should be readily available no matter where you are.
It is important to acknowledge what we are building on top of. Digitalization is a second step. First is the exact thing that it is happening. The actual process of something is happening. We normally come and digitalize that, other than a handful items that are truly starting with the digital first. Majority of the activities that we talk about under digitalization is coming in picture to replace an already existing thing. And that already existing thing might have the flaws, might have the inefficiencies. So it is very important as a technologist and as a digital leader, we don't get into the trap of digitalizing what is already there. And before getting to actually truly dissect and see if what was there was the right thing and the right way to do. You should actually start with looking in the enhancement of the existing process, making sure that it is as its best efficient level that it can be, and then use the digitization as enabling that process to be faster, to be better, to be more productive, and so on.
The more companies understand what the true customer journeys are of their customers, it'll guide them to design and build product. It'll guide them in terms of how they need to market and sell and support customers across that entire journey, and then layer technology on top of that in order to make those processes more efficient and deliver a better ROI. But understanding and mapping customer journeys, though, is quite a complex process. And in large organizations, for example, in my company, ODAIA, we serve big pharma, and we're helping them with their digital transformation for the customer-facing teams within the pharmaceutical companies. And going back to something that David Hodge mentioned earlier, which is having a centralized, I guess, single pane of glass or a source of truth when it comes to leveraging all the different silos of data within an organization so that you can use all of those touch points that may reside in siloed databases across the organization, especially in big companies. You have to bring all that together. You've got to bring it into a single platform that can make sense of that and string those interfaces or interactions that customers are having across every touch point in an organization, string them together to understand what that customer journey is from a data-centric approach. And then, as a company, take a customer-centric approach as opposed to a company-centric approach, measure all of the data from across the different silos that currently exist within organizations to map out the customer journeys, understand the processes that exist, and then look for ways to make those more efficient.
I'm actually going to give you examples of how we apply that customer first approach. I'll give you a few examples during the last year of pandemic. What are their different phases, how we use that customer first approach to tackle those problems. If stage one, when we realized 70% of customer, they shop less frequent during the weekdays, right? We observe their shopping behavior change in terms of the day-to-day grocery. More customer wants to switch e-commerce ordering. So we leverage our PC Express online ordering system to empower the customer to do more online grocery shopping. We also open up our priority slots for seniors and PC Insider members so that the customer then they can pick up online grocery. Stage two, a few months after the breakout, we also noticed that customer has changed their lifestyle needs, right? So they have more desire to consume more video streaming, and they want to see how to look at recipes and cookings that do their cookings at home, but with restaurant quality meals. So we launched PC Chef, which delivers the meal kits to our customers' home. And we also noticed an increase of financial needs for our customers. We also launched PC Money to address their financial needs in the second phase of pandemic. The last phase last year, we recognized our customers has strong desire of mental health care needs. 70% of Canadians report feeling extreme levels of stress increased challenge in the mental health. Customer has deepened their desires to relax. They wanted to talk to healthcare experts. So we launched PC House, which is our healthcare platform, to empower Canadians to have live chats with like dietitians, doctors, nurses, to leverage our connected health ecosystem to help the Canadians in that stage.
Organizations sort of struggle with digitalization because oftentimes we see them pouring new technology over old thinking, is the best way I could put it. And, I think the shift that we've all experienced is a digital first, customer centric world. And if we're going to digitize, what we have today without reinventing ourselves, our organizations, our processes, we shouldn't expect to achieve the results we have. I think when we approach digital transformation at Salesforce, it's really with a beginner's mindset, open mind, not looking back at what we did, but rather what we can do. I think at the heart of it is embracing innovation and leveraging new technologies, right? And doing so in a strategic manner. So, advanced analytics, AI, bots, right? How do we adopt those? And we do that across all available digital channels, mobile, e-com, web, so on and so forth. And I do want to double click on AI because I think it is an opportunity that is under leveraged right now. The reality of it is AI is embedded in nearly all of our daily lives, whether we know it or not. And I don't think the question is, can AI play a role in digital transformation? I think the question is how, right? And I think it's about taking our strategies and driving it at an AI level across sales, across marketing, and across service. I think, engagements, shouldn't be thought of as individual one-offs. To truly meet the customer expectations, individual engagements must be thought of as a part of a holistic experience where each interaction is informing the next.